Hey folks, welcome back to the channel where your pocket change might just make you a millionaire. Now, before you go flipping your couch cushions or raiding your piggy bank, let me hit you with a wild fact. There's a 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that sold for a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Yes, I said a penny. A single lonely copper coin that most people would walk right past on the sidewalk is out here casually flexing millionaire status. Now you might be thinking, there's no way my crusty old penny is worth that much, right? Well, hang tight, because I'm about to tell you exactly what makes the little 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special, how to spot one, what mistakes to look for, and how you can possibly cash in if you've got the right one sitting in your junk drawer. And I'll even share the tragic tale of how I accidentally spent a valuable penny on a Snickers bar. Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. What's so special about this 1981 penny? So the 1981 penny without a mint mark was made in Philadelphia, and that's actually totally normal for that mint because they didn't start putting a P on pennies until 2017. But not every 1981 no mint mark penny is valuable. In fact, most of them are only worth face value unless they have certain rare errors or are in minty fresh condition. When we say this coin is worth $1.1 million, we're talking about a very specific variety of that penny, one that has some wild characteristics and is in near perfect condition. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from making pennies out of mostly copper to mostly zinc with a copper coating, so a 1981 penny should be copper. It should weigh about 3.11 grams. Get yourself a little pocket scale. They're cheap online, and trust me, they'll pay for themselves the second you find a coin like this. The $1 million 1981 penny we're talking about was struck on a proof die by mistake. Yeah, basically someone at the mint grabbed the wrong equipment and accidentally used a special die meant for proof coins on a regular circulation coin. What that did was give the penny razor-sharp details, extra shiny surfaces, and that sweet cameo contrast between Lincoln's profile and the background. These are known as proof-like errors, and they're extremely rare in circulation coins. Now imagine a coin like that escaping the mint without being caught, surviving in the wild for over 40 years without being scratched to heck, and then landing in someone's hands who knew exactly what to look for. There are a few errors that can make your 1981 penny valuable, even if it's not the $1 million superstar. This is when Lincoln's face or the words on the front of the coin look slightly doubled, kind of like the coin had one too many espressos. If the design is way off the center, it can add major value, especially if the date is still visible. This one's a crowd favorite. It's when a tiny raised line appears between the B and E in Liberty, making it look like it says Liberty or Liberty, or just making your coin look like it's sneezing mid-word. Those errors can fetch anywhere from a few bucks to a few hundred depending on condition. So back in college, I had this penny I'd kept since I was a kid. My grandpa gave it to me, said it might be worth something someday. It was shiny, it looked weird, and I thought, hey, maybe this is the real deal. Then one day I'm starving, I'm late to class, and I'm digging through my wallet for change for the vending machine. Long story short, that penny bought me a Snickers. Fast forward 5 years, I learn about the proof like 1981 no mint mark penny. I check my old photos. I spend a possible fortune for 250 calories of caramel and regret the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny you've got could just be the next millionaire making coin. But it all comes down to condition, special errors, and crazy minting flukes. If you've got one in perfect shape, weighs about 3.11 grams, and looks like it belongs in a jewelry display case, not a spare change jar, then you might want to get that thing checked out by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. Now, if you're into coin collecting or just want to know how to turn ordinary looking coins into serious cash, hit that subscribe button. I drop weekly videos breaking down valuable coins, error coins, and little known coin strategies that could turn your glove compartment into a gold mine. And hey, even if you never find a $1 million penny, at least you'll have a great story and a few extra bucks in your pocket. So keep checking your change, stay curious, and remember, just because it's a penny doesn't mean it's worthless. Hey coin hunters, welcome back to the channel where we dig through pocket change like it's a treasure chest. And today, folks, you're gonna want to check every penny you own, because one little coin from 1964 could change your life. That's right, we're talking about the legendary, the mysterious, the potentially $1 million 1964 D Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard me, a coin that probably rolled off a vending machine tray in the 60s is now worth a whopping $1.2 million. If that doesn't get your coin senses tingling, I don't know what will. Now, before you go flipping over the couch cushions, hang tight, because we're diving deep into what makes this penny so valuable, how to know if you've got one, and how I once got laughed at by a cashier for paying with what might have been a $500 coin. Yep, true story. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a flashlight, and definitely a cup of coffee, because we're about to go on a journey through time, money, and a whole lot of copper. The 1964 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, and back then pennies were still mostly made of good old copper, around 95% of it. In fact, they made billions of these, like over 3 billion to be exact. So why is one worth over $1 million? The secret is in the mistakes and the rarities. Now, I know that sounds like dating advice, but trust me, it applies to coins too. See, back in the 60s, the mint was under serious pressure. They were trying to phase out silver from coins and focus on producing more base metal coins to meet Demand. This led to a rushed, chaotic coin production process, and when things get rushed, you know what happens: errors. So a few 1964D Lincoln pennies ended up with crazy minting errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. Imagine being that one guy working at the mint who accidentally made a penny out of a dime blank, and now that little oopsie is worth more than a Lamborghini. The particular 1964D coin that sold for that insane amount wasn't your everyday copper penny. It was in pristine condition. We're talking mint state, perfect, basically untouched since the day it left the mint. Experts believe that it was either a test strike or a pattern coin made under special conditions which never should have made it into circulation, but somehow one did, and it ended up in the hands of a lucky collector who probably just thought, hey, cool shiny penny, and years later, boom, millionaire. Now let me tell you about a time I thought I hit the jackpot. I was at a flea market, digging through a box labeled old junk coins, and I spot a shiny 1964D penny. I nearly fainted right there between a guy selling homemade beef jerky and a woman with 6 cats on leashes. I bought it for a quarter, yes, a quarter for a penny. See what I did there? I rushed home, heart-pounding dreams of private islands and vintage convertibles racing through my head. I googled the heck out of it, held it up to every light source I could find. I even took it to a local coin shop. The guy behind the counter looks at it, squints, and goes, yeah buddy, this one's been cleaned with a Brillo pad and used as a hammer. Dreams shattered like a dropped snow globe. But hey, it taught me a valuable lesson: clean coins aren't necessarily good coins, and don't get your hopes up without doing your research. So how can you tell if your 1964D penny is the $1 million kind? First, check the condition. If it looks like it just came out of a penny roll from heaven, you're on the right track. Second, look for mint errors, double die. Adverse is a big one. Look closely at the date and the lettering. If it looks like it's shadowed or doubled, bingo. Third, check the weight. A genuine copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, but some rare errors were struck on lighter planchets. And finally, have it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, because nobody's paying you $1 million based on your cousin Larry's opinion from Facebook. Now if you're thinking, cool, but I already spent my 1964D penny on a candy bar in 1998, don't worry, there's still hope. There are other years with valuable Lincoln pennies, and you never know what might be lurking in your change jar. Honestly, if you're not checking your coins at this point, you're basically walking past free scratch-off tickets every day. And don't even get me started on the time I found a wheat penny in a tip jar and swapped it for a regular one. Yeah, I became that guy. Alright folks, we've covered the legend of the 1964D penny, the why, the how, and the maybe, just maybe, of hitting that $1 million jackpot. If you've got one hiding in a drawer or a jar of spare change, it might be time to give it a second look, because here's the thing: these coins are out there. They're not myths, they're not unicorns, they're copper-covered potential, and they're hiding in plain sight. And if you want to learn more about valuable coins, how to spot rare errors, and how not to get swindled by a guy at a gas station, then this is the channel for you. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Give this video a thumbs up if you've ever picked up a coin off the sidewalk and secretly hoped it was rare, and share this with a friend who's always broke but somehow has a jar of pennies gathering dust, because who knows, maybe one of them is sitting on $1 million right now. Hey there fellow treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel where your pocket change might just make you a millionaire. If you're the kind of person who tosses pennies aside like they're just annoying copper clutter, then hold up, because today we are diving deep into a little coin that could be hiding in your car cup holder and could be worth a jaw-dropping $13 million. That's right, I'm talking about the 1970 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds basic, right? Well, buckle up, because this little guy has a wild backstory and a crazy market value, and you might just have one sitting in your junk drawer or coffee can of random coins. Now, before we jump into the shiny details, let me tell you a quick story about the time I almost spent one of these babies on a gas station candy bar. Stick around, because you're gonna want to hear this. So what's the deal with the 1970 penny, and why is it suddenly worth a small fortune? Back in 1970, the Denver Mint produced a bunch of Lincoln pennies with the good old D mint mark under the date. It was a pretty standard year for the penny at first glance, but here's where it gets spicy. Some of these pennies were struck with errors, variations, and even some very low mintage proofs, and those are the unicorns collectors go wild for. Now let's talk about the star of the show, the 1970 penny that's worth $13 million. This isn't just any OL coin, this one is in pristine condition like mint state, and it's got some unique features like a double die adverse and a perfectly centered strike. That's numismatic gold, baby. Collectors pay big money for a coin that's rare and flawless. Think of it like finding a perfectly preserved slice of pizza from 1970, but instead of mold, it's magically fresh and delicious. Okay, maybe not the best metaphor, but you get the point. So what makes this specific penny so valuable? Well, it boils down to three things: rarity, condition, and collector demand. There's reportedly only a few in such flawless shape floating around, and every collector wants one to show off in their collection. It's the coin equivalent of finding a diamond in a sandbox. Now remember that story I teased earlier? Let me take you back a few years. I was cleaning out my car like a responsible adult, which happens about once every presidential election. I reached down between the seats and pulled out a handful of change. I almost tossed it in a Coinstar machine, but something told me to look a Little closer I saw this weird looking penny with the 1970D mark and I thought how weird font thicker date almost looked like the numbers were doubling, so I did a quick search and nearly fell out of my chair. I didn't win the penny lottery that day, but it was worth a couple $100, not bad for a coin that smelled like French fries and old receipts. Now some of you are probably wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these super rare 1970D pennies? Here's a quick checklist. 1. Does it have the D mint mark? 2. Is the date super crisp and bold, especially the 9 and the 03? Do the numbers look doubled, like they partied a little too hard and are seeing double? 4. Does Honest Abe look like he's got extra detail in his hair or jacket? 5. Is it in good condition, like no deep scratches or corrosion? If you've got one that checks all those boxes, do not spend it on vending machine snacks. I repeat, step away from the Snickers. Instead, take it to a coin shop or get it professionally graded. That's where the magic happens. A penny that looks decent raw might be worth $100, but once graded, if it comes back mint state MS65 or higher, then we're talking serious cash. And let's take a minute to appreciate how wild this is. We live in a world where people are paying millions for NFTs of pixelated monkeys, and yet here we are sleeping on literal money, just chilling in our change jar. Now I know what you're thinking, I'm gonna go dig through every couch cushion and coin jar I've got right after this video, and yes, that's exactly what you should do, but before you do that, here's a few more tips. Get a magnifying glass or one of those little coin loop tools. Compare your coin with verified images from trusted sources. Join a few coin collecting groups on social media where people love sharing their finds. Oh, and please don't clean your coin with soap or toothpaste, you'll scratch it and drop the value faster than crypto on a Monday. Still with me? Good, because here's a bonus tip. Even if your 1970D penny isn't worth millions, some of them in lesser conditions still fetch $10, $50, even $100. That's not bad for something that cost 1 cent. Plus, it's a fun hobby. You learn a little history, get to geek out over cool details, and maybe, just maybe, stumble on a life-changing coin. The 1970D Lincoln penny might look ordinary, but it's got the potential to be worth a staggering $13 million if you've got the right one. Mint mark D, double die obverse, super sharp details in mint state condition. That's the golden ticket. And don't forget my story. Clean your car, dig through old jars, check those coin rolls. You never know what treasure you might find. If you enjoyed this wild penny tale and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich in the least expected ways, do me a solid, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. We're talking nickels, dimes, quarters, and even dollar bills that could be worth thousands. Plus, I've got more personal stories, fun facts, and coin hunting strategies coming your way, so don't miss out. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers, welcome back to the channel where your pocket change might just turn you into a millionaire. Now I know what you're thinking, a penny, a single 1 cent coin worth $1.4 million. That sounds crazier than trying to toast bread with a flashlight, but hold on to your piggy banks, because today we're diving into one of the most overlooked and underestimated coins out there. That's right, a coin you might have dropped in a vending machine or lost in your couch cushions. Could be worth more than a brand new Lamborghini. In today's video, we'll explore why this little copper coin is turning heads in the coin collecting world, what makes it so valuable, and how you can spot one in your own collection. I'll even share a hilarious story about the time I thought I found one and almost passed out at a gas station. So grab your favorite snack, sit back, and let's talk about how a simple 1978 penny could change your life. The 1978 Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and as was standard back then, it didn't have a mint mark. That's right, no little letter under the date. And while most of these pennies are common as ants at a picnic, there are a few unicorns out there that make collectors lose their minds. Now, what makes this coin worth a staggering $1.4 million? It's all about condition, rarity, and of course errors. Some of these no mint mark 1978 pennies were struck on a bronze planchet when they were supposed to be transitioning to a different composition. That's like ordering fries and getting gold nuggets instead. Not to mention, a few of these coins have dramatic doubling, crisp details, and absolutely perfect finishes. We're talking mint state 67 and above in coin speak. That's like the Olympic gold medal of penny condition. You're not just paying for copper, you're paying for a historical mistake captured in flawless form. Imagine being the person who found that and realized they were holding $1 million mistake. So I'm at this gas station, right? I just bought a bag of chips and got some change back. I'm bored waiting in line and start flipping through my coins. I see a 1978 penny and my heart stops. No mint mark, shiny, looks crisp. I'm convinced I've hit the jackpot. I yell, oh my god, in the middle of the store, drop everything, run to my car, pull out my phone with shaking hands and start Googling like a madman. I kid you not, a lady pumping gas next to me asked if I was okay, and I just said, I think I'm RICH. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the rare one. It had a tiny scratch and was only worth like $2, still better than nothing, but let's just say I've been humbled since then. If you want to find one of these valuable pennies, here's what you need to do. Second, flip it over, look for that missing mint mark. If you see a D or S, it's not the one, then examine the condition. The better the shine, the sharper the details, the higher the value. You can even get a magnifying glass or a USB coin microscope online to help spot doubling and errors, and if you really think you've got something special, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. It might cost you a little upfront, but it's worth it if your penny turns out to be the real deal. Some of these have sold in auctions for life-changing amounts of money. We're talking college tuition, down payment on a house, retire early levels of money, and let me tell you, there are collectors out there with very deep pockets who will pay top dollar for a perfect 1978 no mint mark penny. So don't toss your change, don't let your kids use your pennies for crafts, and for the love of all things shiny, don't leave a jar of coins in the garage. That ordinary looking 1978 penny without a mint mark might be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. It's like winning the lottery, but with better odds and no need to scratch anything. Moral of the story: check your change, check your drawers, check your grandma's old coffee can. You never know when the next $1 million coin is hiding in plain sight. If you had fun watching and want more hilarious stories, valuable coin finds, and tips to turn your pocket change into profit, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, tap the bell, and join our coin crazy family. You don't want to miss the next episode where we uncover another coin that could be worth more than your car. Alright, stop what you're doing and go check your pockets. No, seriously, I'll wait, because today we're talking about a seemingly ordinary coin that could make you a millionaire. That's right, folks, the 2016 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth up to $1.5 million. Yeah, I said million, not thousand. You might be thinking, wait, hold up, how can a coin I've probably tossed in a tip jar be worth more than my car? Well, stick around, because I'm about to tell you exactly why that is, and how you might just have a golden ticket hiding in plain sight. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at my local coffee shop, you know, the kind where the baristas wear beanies. Even in the summer, I paid for my overpriced oat milk latte with a 5 and got some change back. I didn't think much of it, but one penny caught my eye. It had this shiny shimmer, like it was flexing on the other coins I held onto it for no reason. Just tossed it in my car's cup holder. A week later, while watching a late-night video about valuable coins, I nearly spit out my soda. The coin in the video looked exactly like mine. Turns out it wasn't the jackpot, but that moment started my obsession with checking every coin, and now here we are. What makes the 2016 D penny so special? Well, for starters, it's a Lincoln penny, which we've all seen a million times, but this particular penny, minted in Denver in 2016, has a twist. There are rumors and reports of extremely rare versions of this coin that were struck on the wrong planchet, or had a dramatic die clash, or were double struck. We're talking mint errors so rare they make Bigfoot sightings look common now. Normally a 2016 D penny is worth, well, 1 cent, but if you've got one of these unicorns with the right error, it could be worth $1.5 million to the right collector. That's not just a bump in value, that's a jump straight to the moon. One of the most valuable versions of this coin was found with a double die obverse. That means the front of the coin, where Lincoln's face lives, looks like it was printed twice. Lincoln ends up looking like he's got a shadow twin. Creepy, yes. Valuable also, yes. Another super rare variation is the off-center strike. Imagine Lincoln looking like he was trying to photobomb the edge of the coin. Collectors eat that stuff up. The more off-center the strike, the more off the charts the value. Then there are coins struck on foreign planchets, basically a penny that got stamped on a blank meant for another country's coin. Oops for the mint chaching for you. And don't even get me started on the repunched mint marks. That's when the D looks like it's got a cousin hiding behind it. It might seem like a small detail, but to collectors that's like finding an original Star Wars toy still in the box. So where do you find one of these bad boys? Short answer: anywhere. Your couch cushions, your glove compartment, your grandma's coin jar from 1982. Heck, I once found a weird looking penny inside a gumball machine tray. It wasn't worth a million, but it bought me gum and a lesson in never overlooking change. If you think you've got a rare 2016 D penny, the first thing you should do is not spend it on gas. Take it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or Anchfield. Look at the coin under a microscope with more focus than a raccoon inspecting a shiny object. They'll give it a grade, and if it's high enough and the error is legit, then congratulations, you're sitting on a 6-figure if not 7-figure payday. Now, don't expect every 2016 D penny to be worth a fortune. Most of them are exactly what they look like, a cent, but that's the thrill of the hunt. It's like playing the lottery, but instead of picking numbers, you're picking through change, and the best part, no losing ticket, just more pennies for the pile. Keep a small magnifying glass or jeweler's loop in your car or bag. Check your change whenever you get some, especially pennies and nickels. People overlook those the most, and that's where treasure hides. Also make friends with cashiers. They see coins all day and might even set aside weird ones for you if you ask nicely and bring donuts. The 2016 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny may look average, but with the right error, it's worth more than a Lamborghini. This tiny copper-colored circle could be your ticket to a new house, a fancy vacation, or at least a better coffee machine. Remember, the key is to keep looking, check every coin, and learn what to look for, because the next $1 million penny could be hiding in your change jar right now. And hey, if you enjoyed hanging out with me today, if you learned something new, or if you're already reaching for your coin stash, then hit that subscribe button, like the video, and ring that notification bell, because I've got more coin secrets coming your way, from nickels worth thousands to quarters that could pay your mortgage. You don't want to miss it. Trust me, this is the most fun you'll ever have looking at small metal discs. Hey there, coin lovers, treasure hunters, penny hoarders, and folks who just happened to click this video while binge watching cat fails at 3 a.m. Welcome to the channel where your spare change might just make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny. 1 cent. The copper-colored underdog in your couch cushions could be worth a jaw-dropping 1.6 million bucks. Now before you flip your piggy bank upside down, let me tell you the star of today's show, the 2006 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like just another ordinary coin, right? But oh no, my friend, this one has a twist hotter than a jalapeno on a summer day in Texas. So grab your coins, grab a drink, maybe a snack, and let's dive deep into the wild, wonderful, and weird world of one very special penny. Alright, so let's start simple. What is the 2006 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny? It's the same good old Lincoln Memorial design we've all seen since 1959. Honest Abe sitting tall on the obverse with that classic 1,000-yard stare, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, where if you squint hard enough you might convince yourself you can see a tiny statue of him in there. Now here's where it gets spicy. Most 2006 pennies were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia pennies usually don't have a mint mark, and Denver pennies come with a little D under the year. So if you've got a 2006 penny with no mint mark, you might just shrug and think, hey, it's normal. But not all no mint mark pennies are created equal. You see, the one we're talking about today is special. It's rare. Like the last slice of pizza rare. And unlike your everyday 2006 Philly penny, this one has a jaw-dropping error that's made collectors lose their minds and wallets. So what makes this little coin worth $1.6 million? Well, friends, it all comes down to a delightful little disaster at the US Mint. We're talking about a striking error. No, not like striking out in baseball, but like someone at the Mint was having a bad Monday and struck the coin on the wrong planchet. That's a fancy way of saying they printed Lincoln's face on a metal disc that was never meant to be a penny in the first place. Imagine trying to bake cookies and using a tortilla instead of dough. That's basically what happened here. This specific 2006 penny was struck on a foreign coin planchet, possibly from another denomination or country, which gave it a totally off-color metal tone, strange weight, and even different dimensions. It looked like a penny, but it felt wrong. Like putting pineapple on pizza wrong. Wait, actually, no judgment if you like that. Anyway, this off-metal error was caught by an eagle-eyed collector who realized this wasn't just a funky-looking penny, it was a unicorn. After getting certified by a top-tier grading service, this bad boy sold for a ridiculous $1.6 million at auction. Now let's talk about the people who actually pay this kind of money for pennies. Coin collectors, also called numismatists, are like treasure hunters with glasses and magnifying loupes. These folks live for rare coins, especially ones with mistakes. Only a handful of error pennies like this 2006 no-mint Mark I exist. That makes them more wanted than a free pizza on college campus. And the coin community went nuts when this penny hit the news. Coin forums exploded. Reddit threads multiplied. Everyone started checking their 2006 change, hoping to strike copper gold. One guy even claimed he found a similar coin at a laundromat and refused to use it to dry his socks. That's commitment. Okay, time for a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her house. You know how grandmas are. She had a jar of coins the size of a small dog. I figured, hey, why not look through it? Maybe I'll find something cool. So there I was on the floor sorting through dusty nickels and sticky dimes when suddenly I spotted a shiny 2006 penny with no mint mark. My heart did backflips. I started imagining the yacht I'd buy, the mansion, the endless tacos I'd ordered. I raced to a local coin shop thinking I was about to change my life. The guy took one look and said, yeah, this one's just a regular Philly penny. Worth about 1 cent. Ouch. My dreams died faster than a phone battery at 2%, but that moment taught me something valuable. First, never get your hopes up until a professional checks the coin. And second, even if you strike out, it's still a lot of fun hunting for hidden treasure in your own change. Now let's get practical. How do you know if you have a rare 2006 penny like this? First, grab a magnifying glass. No shame in pretending to be Sherlock Holmes for a minute. Now here's the kicker. Look at the color. Is it off? Maybe more silver or gray than usual. Could be a clue. Next, feel the weight. Most pennies weigh about 2.5 grams. If it feels lighter or heavier, that could be your golden ticket. Finally, if anything seems strange, weird edge, strange sound or texture, get it graded. That's the only way to be sure. Use a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, it costs money, but if your penny is worth even a tiny fraction of 1.6 million, you'll want to make it official. So let's say you do find a suspicious looking 2006 no mint mark penny. First, breathe. Don't go running through the streets like you just won the lottery. Keep it cool. Second, store it safely. Don't chuck it in your junk drawer or let your dog chew on it. Use a coin holder or flip to protect it. Third, take it to a local coin dealer or send it for grading. Be sure to get multiple opinions. And then if you get confirmation, congrats, my friend. You've got yourself a rare piece of American minting history, and if it ends up being worth $1.6 million, well, let's just say your piggy bank days are over. So there you have it, folks. One little 2006 penny that could be worth more than your car, your rent, and probably your student loans combined. If that's not a reason to check your pocket change, I don't know what is. Remember, it's not just about luck. It's about paying attention, learning what to look for, and having a little fun with the process. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny, you'll gain a hobby that's way more interesting than doom scrolling social media. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that subscribe button like you're trying to wake up Abe Lincoln himself. Hit that bell so you never miss a tip on coins that could make you rich. And drop a comment if you've ever found a weird coin in your change. I want to hear your stories. Hey coin hunters and curious folks, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into dream chasers. If you've ever looked at a penny and thought it's just a cent, today I'm about to flip that mindset on its coppery little head. Picture this: you're digging through the couch cushions hunting for the TV remote when your hand brushes something small and metallic. You pull it out and boom, it's a penny. Nothing special, right? Just good old Abe Lincoln staring up at you, all solemn and serious. But hold up, what if I told you that penny could be worth a jaw-dropping, tear-inducing, bank account exploding $1.7 million? That's right, folks. Today we're diving deep into the legend, the myth, the money bag of mystery that is the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny. So grab your coin jars, your magnifying glasses, and maybe a soft cloth, because you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny, and why is it suddenly hotter than a pizza fresh out the oven? Back in 1994, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies, as they do every year. Most of them were minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally doesn't include a mint mark. That's normal, but once in a while something weird slips through the cracks. Now here's where things get spicy. A tiny batch of these 1994 pennies came out looking ordinary but had something extraordinary going on with their composition or striking process. It could be an error coin, a rare die variety, or even an experimental planchet. Whatever the case, only a handful of these little copper celebrities have been found, and collectors are shelling out big bucks for them. Imagine this: you're in line at a gas station, you pay with exact change, you give the clerk a 1994 penny, he pockets it, tosses it in the drawer, and bam, $1 million coin just vanished into the void. So what makes these particular pennies worth seven figures? Well, it's all about rarity, condition, and a touch of mystery. Some of the rarest 1994 no mint mark pennies are thought to have been struck on bronze planchets instead of the regular zinc ones. That alone makes them freakishly rare. Combine that with a mint state condition and a certified grade of say MS68 or higher, and you've got yourself a collector's dream. Now listen, I know what you're thinking. A few years ago I was cleaning out my junk drawer, you know, the drawer that holds 3 dried up pens, 1/2 melted birthday candle, and some coupons. That expired when Blockbuster was still a thing. Anyway, I find this dusty old coin envelope I got at a yard sale 10 years ago for $1 just for kicks. I open it and there's a bunch of wheat pennies in there. I get to the bottom and there it is. Now I didn't think much of it until I stumbled across a coin blog talking about rare pennies. I pull out the magnifying glass, fire up Google, and start cross-referencing details. Long story short, I sent it in for grading, and while it wasn't the $1 million version, it still came back worth a couple $100. Not bad for something I found under a broken rubber band and a thumbtack. The point is, these rare coins exist, they're out there, and they're not just sitting in museums or billionaires' vaults. They're in jars, drawers, car cup holders, even old Halloween pumpkin buckets. So how can you tell if your 1994 penny is the lucky one? First, check for a no mint mark. That just means there's no tiny letter under the year. Second, look at the condition. If it looks like it just came out of a roll yesterday, you're already in a better position. Third, consider getting it professionally graded. The top grading companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and appraise your coin's condition and value. Now I know grading can cost a little cash, but if you've got what could be $1 million coin, trust me, it's worth the investment. Also keep an eye out for errors like double dies, off center strikes, or unusual coloring. Sometimes it's the weird looking ones that cash in big. And if all of this feels overwhelming, don't worry, that's what this channel is for. I break this stuff down in regular human speak, so you don't need a PhD in numismatics to understand what's going on. Want a bonus tip? Never clean your coins. I know it's tempting. You see a dusty old penny and you want to polish it up like a new penny on prom night. Don't do it. Cleaning can actually damage the coin and reduce its value faster than a dropped phone in a toilet. The 1994 penny was made during a transition period when the mint was still adjusting from the full copper coins of decades past to copper-plated zinc. A lot of error coins started showing up during this era. It's like the mint was having a rough patch just like the rest of us in the 90s, am I right? So if your 1994 penny is a reddish tone heavier than usual or rings when dropped like a tiny dinner bell, it might be one of the rare ones made with the wrong metal. Planchet if yours has sharp details, shiny luster and no mint markets. Time to take a closer look, and if you're just tuning in wondering if this is really up, it's as real as grandma's banana pudding. So there you have it folks, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny might just be the rock star hiding in your coin jar. It's proof that money doesn't have to be big to be valuable. Sometimes it's the little things that pack the biggest punch. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who drops spare change in a dish by the front door, it's worth taking a closer look the next time you get a penny and change. Don't just toss it aside, give Abe a second glance. He might be winking at you with a secret. Before we wrap up, here's your mission: check your coins, dig through your old jars, ask your grandma to see your penny collection because she might be sitting on a treasure. And if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new or just had a good laugh at my junk drawer story, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, throw a comment below and let me know what coin you want me to cover next. We're rebuilding a community of everyday treasure hunters, and you, my friend, are officially invited. Okay, so imagine this: you're digging through your old piggy bank looking for enough change to buy a taco, and boom, you stumble on a dusty copper penny from 1975 with a little D under the year. You shrug, toss it aside and grab some quarters instead. But what if I told you that dusty little penny could be worth $1.8 million? Yeah, you heard that right, $1.8 million bucks. That's not just rent money, that's mansion with a bowling alley money, that's tropical island and pineapple pizza every day money. Today we're diving deep into one of the most unexpected treasures in the coin world, the 1975 D mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin so common it hides in plain sight, yet one rare version of it is making serious waves in the collector's world. So grab your magnifying glass, your jar of spare change and maybe a snack, because we're going to break down how a coin you might already have could change your life. The 1975 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. That little D stands for Denver, not dollar. Unfortunately, and back in the day they cranked out hundreds of millions of these bad boys. We're talking over 4.5 billion, yes, with a BSO. You're probably thinking, how could something made by the billions be worth over $1 million? Great question, and the answer is one part history, one part error, and one part good old-fashioned luck. See, most 1975 D pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, maybe 2 if you're trying to impress someone at a coin show, but a few of these pennies are worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, and yes, even millions. Some 1975 D pennies were struck with unique minting errors: double die, obverse, off-center strikes, copper zinc composition, transition issues, you name it. There's even rumors of a 1975 D struck on a foreign planchet like a dime or a Canadian coin. Now that's where things get spicy, but the crown jewel, the one worth $1.8 million, that one's got a combo of rare features. It's in near-perfect condition, graded MS69 by the top dogs at PCGS or NGC. It has a crisp double die minting error, and the icing on the cake, it has a unique die clash that gives Lincoln a ghostly outline on the back like he's haunting his own memorial. Now I know what you're thinking, sounds too good to be true, right? Like, how do I even know what to look for? You don't need a fancy lab, just a good eye, a magnifying glass, and a bit of patience. Check for weird lines on Lincoln's face, doubling in the letters, odd textures or colors, or if the coin just feels weirdly heavy or thin. And the best place to start is your spare change jar. You know, that thing in your kitchen that's half full of quarters, pennies, and one rogue paperclip. Yeah, that's your gold money. A few years ago I was helping my grandma clean out her old coffee cans full of coins. I'm talking Folgers can from the 80s, dusty, rusted, the works. I wasn't even thinking about coin value, I was just trying to get some old quarters to use for laundry. But then I spotted this crusty looking 1975 penny. It had a D under the date and the rim looked kind of funky. Not being a coin nerd yet, I almost tossed it, but something told me to hold on to it. Fast forward a few months, I got it appraised, and guess what? Not $1 million penny, but it was a rare double die error worth about $600. Not bad for something that was sitting next to a stale Werther's original for 30 years. Moral of the story: always check before you chuck, you never know. So how do you know if you've got the big one, the $1.8 million baby one? Send it to a professional grading service. They'll tell you if it's mint state enough to blow minds too. Join a coin forum or Reddit group. There are folks who live and breathe this stuff, and they'll help you out for free. 3. Hit your local coin shop. Those guys have seen it all, and usually they're more honest than your cousin who said NFTs were a great investment. Collectors, baby, the high rollers, the folks with more money than sense, or sometimes museums that want a piece of minting history, or investors treating rare coins like stocks, only shinier and look. Even if you don't have the big money penny, some of these 1975 D errors can fetch hundreds or thousands, so it's always worth checking. Alright folks, if you stuck around this long, you're either a serious coin hunter or you're really bored. Either way, I appreciate you. To wrap things up, the 1975 D Lincoln penny might look ordinary, but in rare cases it's anything but. Keep your eyes peeled for errors, double dies, odd metal compositions, and weird features, and remember, the world of coins is full of surprises. Your spare change might just be your ticket to a brand new life, or at the very least a new iPhone. So next time you get a handful of pennies, don't roll your eyes, flip them over, check the dates, and look closely. That boring old penny might be your $1,000,000 moment. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something or just had a good laugh, hit that like button and smash that subscribe for more videos on coins worth money, weird coin facts, and all the best strategies to find treasure in your own pocket. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're just getting started. I'd love to hear your story.